What's up? I'm Alex Wallian, and this is my first video essay for Visuality and Culture. This is a picture of my family standing in the parking lot outside of the Tillamook Cheese Factory in Tillamook, Oregon, taken in July of 2006. That summer, my parents decided to take the family on a short vacation to Oregon to go shopping because the state of Oregon has no sales tax, to visit a few of the colleges up there, and to do a little bit of sightseeing. Because Tillamook cheese, especially Tillamook sharp and extra sharp cheddar, is a favorite of the Wallian family, it was decided that one of the days in Oregon would be devoted to making the journey to the factory and taking a self-guided tour while there. Among the highlights of the tour were getting to see the mass production of this beautiful dairy product and being able to enjoy free samples of various types of cheese. After the tour, my family and I ate at the restaurant attached to the factory, which is where my little sister got the ice cream cone she's holding in the photograph. There are a few interesting things to point out about this family photograph. The first thing to look at is the stage used to produce this image, or the scene that served as the backdrop to this tourist photo. The stage is, as I have already mentioned, the visitor parking lot of the Tillamook Cheese Factory. This can be easily determined with a quick glance at the company's name and logo, which are quite prominent in the background, as I am sure the photographer, my mother, planned on. This background stage interests me because I am not quite sure where it fits into the data survey that Haldrup and Larson have compiled in Table 1 of their article, The Family Gaze. It seems to me that if I had to choose one category of theirs to describe the stage, it would be a cultural site, although I really don't think that the Tillamook Cheese Factory is the cultural site Haldrup and Larson had in mind when writing their article. However, the strange choice of staging and of a vacation destination is not the only thing I see when I look at me and my family standing in front of the cheese factory 2.5 years ago. As a spectator, the image of myself standing in front of the cheese factory tells me that my unhealthy obsession with fatty foods will soon catch up to me and the skinny build I have in the photo. This second picture, taken a year and a half later around Christmas time 2007, demonstrates that change in my build after just one semester of inactivity and pigging out in college. Note carefully the filling out and softening of the facial features and neck, and also the pooch that has developed on my belly, which have continued to grow between the second photo and the present. In addition to demonstrating the weight gain that took place once I started college and stopped exercising regularly, the second picture helps to point out another important element of the first photograph. The second photograph, taken on my father's birthday in 2007, introduces one family member who was not present in the picture outside of the cheese factory. This person, my older sister Connie, had to go to work and thus was forced to miss out on the excitement of the Tillamook Cheese Factory. Without Connie, my family has a totally different dynamic, which is why something or someone clearly seems to be missing from the first photograph. There's a rather wide, unoccupied space between me and my father and the back row of the cheese factory picture, the space in which Connie would be standing had she been there with us. In the photograph, I almost seem to be subconsciously making room for her as I am a full step away from my father. Interestingly enough, the photographer, my mother, did not even force me to stand closer to my father and little sister, as if she too was leaving a space for Connie. Although the staging in front of the cheese factory and the sizable gap between my father and I are both important elements of the photograph which lead to interesting reflections on the photograph and comparisons with the second photograph, both of these elements are part of the studium of the photograph. Thus, they are elements that interest me and draw me to the photograph, but they do not strike or prick me. The element of the photograph that does strike me in this way, the punctum, is the way in which my little sister positions her right index finger. This one little index finger is where my attention goes to when I view the photograph, and it is the first thing I recall when I think of this photograph. The way she has her finger positioned is, at least in my mind, a gesture that is 100 times more awkward than the way that Roland Barthes describes his mother as holding her finger in the picture he refuses to show the reader. For while Barthes lets his mother's awkward gesture go quite easily, writing it off as something children often do, I cannot let go of my sister's finger positioning without trying to understand what she was doing with her finger. Was she doing a one-finger wave at the camera? Was she in the process of pointing something out? Was she mimicking the pressing of the button of the camera that my mom was doing? Or was there even a suitable explanation for what she was doing with her finger? Maybe she just decided to act a fool and that was the first thing that popped into her head. Maybe the positioning wasn't even voluntary, Her finger just naturally assumes that position, and this is the first time I have ever noticed. To answer my questions and get a definitive answer as to what my sister had in mind when making that gesture, I had my father show her the picture and ask her why she held her finger the way she did in the photograph. Here's her answer.
So I think what I was doing with my finger in that picture was I got ice cream on it and it was sticky, so I was kind of holding my fingers out so they wouldn't touch and get all sticky and gross.